New president vows to end American carnage. Mr. Trump, we are here to vow to end the Trump carnage.
Support my daughter, who may actually, as a result of the appointments you have made, grow up in a country that is moving backwards, not forwards, and who may potentially not have the right to make choices for her body and her future that your daughter Ivanka has been privileged to have.
We represent the powerful forces of change that are determined to prevent the dying cultures of racism, heteropatriarchy from rising again.
His widely reported symptoms of mental instability, including grandiosity, impulsivity, hypersensitivity to slights or criticisms, and an apparent inability to distinguish between fantasy and reality, lead us to question his fitness for the immense responsibilities of the office, unquote.
Our dignity, our character, our rights have all been under attack, and a platform of hate and division assumed power yesterday.
I'm not nasty, like the combo of Trump and Pence being served up to me in my voting booth. I'm nasty like the battles my grandmothers fought to get me into that voting booth.
We will not build a stupid wall. And we will not tear millions of families apart. Not on our watch.
Well, the inauguration is almost here, folks, and I'll tell you something else that's almost here. The day after the inauguration is a big fancy march by a bunch of whacked out, angry, liberal feminist women.
And to our detractors that insist that this march will never add up to anything, fuck you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wake Up Report. And did the ladies represent, or did they not represent? An estrogen tsunami swept across Washington as the Women's March on D.C., I think, surpassed everybody's expectations, man. They are clocking this event at well over 1 million women showing up at Washington, as well as, for people who couldn't make Washington, events from Boston to Canada, places around the world. It wasn't just women in the United States that participated in this event. This became a worldwide, global phenomenon, and it just goes to show you, just like I told you in the last show, this started with one person, one idea in November, who suggested this, and look what happened between November and now. Over 1 million women strong in the United States, and countless more around the world. We do know, however, though, that as you see by the graphic provided here, Donald Trump's old buddy, Vladimir Putin in Russia, severely underrepresented in sticking up for their women as well, because it just ain't Putin in Russia, as well as China and India. And we know how Indians love to rape and burn up them some Indian women. So real big thumbs down to you guys for not sticking up for your women. Scarlett Johansson made good, and she showed up. America Ferrera showed up. Everybody that said they were going to be a part of this event showed up, and they represented. Madonna showed up. And hey, Madonna, how do you really feel about Donald Trump? Ashley Judd gave a rousing poetry jam session there, and I think that was a poem that somebody else did, but she recreated it in all of its glory, so to speak. And it was just an event that, are women getting it? I don't know if men are getting it. But and I forgot to say, Bikers for Trump. Bikers for Trump represented too, but their numbers were absolutely dwarfed. And I guess they came to keep the peace, so to speak, but their numbers paled in comparison to the amount of women that showed up. And I mean to be there and to be able to see that many people in one area at the same time was a feat in of itself. And not to mention, you had you had women represent from practically every cultural background there. You had European women, you had African women, you had Asian women, you had Latino women, Arabic women. Every woman was there. And, are women getting it? Are women going to be the ones to wake up and see that there's solidarity in numbers, that you are a woman, is a woman, is a woman, is a woman. You're not a black woman, you're not a white woman, you're not a Latina woman. You are a woman, period. And all of you are going through pretty much the same things when it comes to things like equal pay, when it comes to things like self-respect, when it comes to things like voter representation, when it comes to things like putting who you want in the White House to represent you. That's over 1 million people that if they follow the same lead that Bikers for Trump, if they follow that same lead, that is a political megaton. That's a political powerhouse that you can use. So, and Hillary Clinton wasn't there, surprisingly. I didn't see Hillary, not hide nor hair, anywhere. So I guess she was there in spirit. And you just cannot dispute the numbers. Numbers are facts, and you cannot dispute what you saw play out in front of you. But was this a true social political movement? Has that spark been lit, and will it continue well into and beyond Donald Trump's presidency? Or was this just one giant feel-good moment for women to just get out there, feel good, show some strength and some numbers, get out there and bark and yell and say speeches and do all of the things that are typically associated with these events, and go back to business as usual? Because, you do realize 53% of white women in the United States voted for Donald Trump. So, and a lot of them were what they call closet Trump voters. You dog Donald Trump when he talked about, grabbing vagina and blood coming out the ears and insulting women and all that stuff. But when you got behind that voter booth, you pulled that curtain closed, you voted for Donald Trump. So is it going to be business as usual, or is this a movement that is going to springboard and keep going forward? And I mean, of course, we all remember the historic Million Man March that made a lot of money for the Nation of Islam and Louis Farrakhan, but judging by black people's current state, didn't do very much. And what that meant was basically it was a feel-good moment. Nobody took that message to heart. So when you went back to your respective communities, you really didn't do anything beyond that feel-good moment, or the amount of niggas was just so overwhelming and you didn't have any backup that you couldn't do anything. And I mean, after watching all this, I couldn't help but think to myself, where were all you people when Hillary was running? How many of you actually voted? How many of you actually participated when she needed you the most? Because the flip side of this is, you have Donald Trump to actually thank for all of this that you're enjoying right now. Because of your complacency, because you weren't doing anything, Donald Trump was allowed to slip in and take the presidency of the United States. And now that everybody is afraid of what might happen under a Trump administration with abortion rights, with gay marriage rights, with a lot of things, and Trump and the Republicans, they're going to come after a lot of the stuff that you liberals hold near and dear. But the Democratic Party was an absolute wreck throughout the campaign. It showed that they were no more or no better, no worse than the Republicans. When it came to being sneaky and underhanded and doing things, Donna Brazile leaking questions to Hillary Clinton for the debate, Hillary Clinton and the Democratic National Party trying to undermine Bernie Sanders, you all were no different than the very people that you criticized. So Donald Trump got in. He came in through the back door, crawled in through a window, did whatever it is what he had to do, and now everybody's yelling and screaming, and they're mad about what Donald Trump is going to do. But in essence, it's your fault. You're responsible for Donald Trump being president. So after all the dust settles, everybody goes back home and gets a chance to bask in the afterglow of this historic march, and this can be this will probably go down in the history books as just as historic as the Susan B. Anthony women's suffrage march. What's going to happen? Where are we going to be a year from now, 2, 3, 4 years from now? What's going to happen? If it's something that jumps off into something that is serious, that people can become a part of, who want to see forward, progressive thinking men and women get together and do right by every American citizen, if that's something that is going to result out of this movement, then yeah, I'm all for it. But the skeptic, who has looked at so many other quote unquote movements, you have to kind of look at it and say, well, people love to hear themselves talk the most. And at the end of the day, is it going to be about something substantial, or is it going to be all talk and no action? I guess that remains to be seen, but I guess what's important now is that women took center stage at the Women's March on Washington. They represented absolutely 100%. Me personally, I hope something comes out of this. I do like the Tea Party, do like the Republican Party, do like the Democratic Party. Clearly, you have enough numbers to flex some serious political muscle in this country. So you got the power. What are you going to do with it? This is KTM and the Wake Up Report saying think a little bit. It will do wonders for you.